Hello, everyone. Today is January 28th, 2022. I'm here today with Neema Naz. Neema Naz is a comedian, content creator, and actor. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Neema.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me, buddy.
It's going well. Thanks for coming on.
For sure.
So, how long have you been creating and putting out content?
It's been 7 years, just over 7 years now. I've
Okay,
been doing it.
seven
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
What drove what drove this 7 years ago?
So I actually dropped out of university to pursue my passion, which is in comedy and acting and all that stuff. So I was really heavy on watching YouTube at the time that I dropped out too. Uh, like leading up like 4 or 5 years leading up to that point, and I just loved the thought and the idea of me being on camera, just fooling around, goofing around, just doing things that I think are funny and all that stuff. So I've always kind of had that natural instinct and knack to just be funny and show other people that the talents that I have. So yeah.
Wow. Did you do anything like that, maybe off camera, not on social media before content creating? Like, did you joke around and feel you were better than it with your friends and family?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but my whole life it's been like that. As a kid too, I was always the kid to, especially when we had as a Persian guy in our culture, like we have mehmonis, which is like the family gatherings and parties that we have with our families and friends. As a kid, they would always like force me to go up and like make them laugh, like all my parents' friends and
Wow.
whatever and kids, and I was like, I had no problem doing it. Weirdly enough, I guess I had that confidence from the jump to just like get up and just goof off, make fun of my mom a little bit, my dad, just like the typical basic stuff when you're a kid. And then so yeah, like I've been doing that since I was a kid with my friends. I've always been like the funny guy. Like I'll always be roasting my friends and joking around and just like friendly banter. So yeah, it's always just been a part of me to do that for sure.
Wow. And like you mentioned, part of we're Persian, grew up in a Persian culture. Dropping out of university is not always, I mean, is not for many Persians is not
Yeah, it's
something that
not.
their family would be stoked about. How did it go down with you and your family?
So luckily, my parents are pretty supportive and easygoing in that world because they've always just been a believer of you know just just doing something and learning something. They're not really strict on exactly what. Just do something. Like do something that you like that you're gonna learn and do well in. So luckily, I had that support from the jump from my parents. Like I mean, obviously they would have at first rather me just go into the typical academic route of engineer or doctor, lawyer, stuff like that, right? Or because usually like other Persian parents or Middle Eastern parents, Asian parents, they're like you're either these three or you're a failure, right? That's like a classic
Yes.
joke amongst our cultures. So it wasn't really I never really felt that pressure as much as other kids, luckily. So but also I don't know, I just had this like weird confidence to me that I was like, I'm not gonna listen to anybody. I'm just gonna do what I want to do. And I don't know, because I was born and raised in Canada and like I'm not too like brainwashed from the back home mindset of like,
Yes.
you gotta you just have to like study for 4 years, get undergrad, get a degree, get a job, get a family, and that's it, right? I never really adopted that mindset from the jump. So luckily, I had to help myself out of that mindset throughout my life, which I did, luckily, and I just kind of made the decision for myself, and I really was adamant on doing what I'm doing now. When I dropped out of university to my parents, and they just like, all right, well, they knew they're like, all right, well, we're not gonna change Neema's mind at this point. Like this guy is just dead set on doing this stuff. So they're like, okay, as long as if you do it, but make sure you do it 100%. Don't like this is like don't like fool around. Like if you're gonna do it, right? So, and I always have no problem with that thinking, and so yeah, they've been pretty supportive since the beginning.
Nice.
Yeah.
So You said you've not really had problems with that thinking. How do you get yourself out of that mindset, kind of groupthink mindset? Like you need to be a doctor, you need to go to school.
Yeah.
How, and you seem it's easy, not too difficult for you, but other people, I think struggle at it very much. So, what do you think helps you achieve that?
Um, well, I don't know. I just weirdly enough, since I was a kid and since I was younger, I've always been skeptical of like groupthink and what society standards are. I guess you can call me a, a rebel or like a conspiracy theorist, or I always just was against the norm, and I just wanted to do what I wanted to do that I thought was fun and made me happy. And I truly did follow my gut this whole time. I've always listened to my intuition naturally without even knowing that I was doing that. But now, obviously, I'm way more self aware of myself at this age that I am now, and especially over the past couple of years. But I just kind of listened to myself from the beginning, pretty much, and that's what got me here. Because I feel like a lot of people they either get brainwashed from other people or media or whatever, and they think that's the right thing to do, and they let other people make decisions for them, and that's why they end up doing things they don't really like, and then end up being miserable the rest of their lives. When I
Yes.
realized that, I don't know how at the age of 16, 17, 18, I realized this. But I really hated the thought of doing that, and it just honestly it disgusted me to think that I would ever do that shit and just like do something someone else wanted me to do and just live my life that way. So I don't know, I just kind of I listen to myself, and I'm way more happier doing that than and because this way, if I do fuck up or I fail, it's on me. It's not because of someone else's decision. And because if that were to happen, if I failed on someone else's thought and decision, I would hate myself more. I would I would regret it so much, which is obviously not a great feeling. So yeah,
No, it's not. And following your own intuition is not easy.
no, yeah, it's
So
not.
you you said, you know, that you attempt to do this, and you said over the last couple of years you gained a lot. You'd always been aware of your intuition, but over the last couple of years you gained that sense of awareness. What happened in the last couple of years with that transformation for you?
Well, a lot of things. I mean, I a few years ago, I actually decided to because and I knew what I wanted to do in my career, but my life, my personal life, and my physical health, my mental health wasn't fully there yet. So even though I knew what I wanted to do in my career, I, as a person, as a human being, still wasn't, fully aware of myself or how I wanted to, live my daily life. So, up until a few years ago, I was pretty unhealthy, like my physical health, like I was obese, I was much bigger, I was mentally not really that well, and I don't know, I never really had any good habits or stuff like that. The list goes on. And then, I when I got to a certain point in my career, my older brother actually we started to get closer, and he actually kind of helped me come out of my funk, and I helped him, and I we decided to really like lean on each other and support each other and help each other kind of work on ourselves more than anything. Because we realized like if I'm not 100% as a human being, then how can you expect me to be 100% in front of a camera or on stage or as a performer?
Yes.
And so that's when we realized, oh shit, like I can't just like not like sleep super late or wake up whenever I want or eat whatever I want and not suffer the consequences of my personal health and my career. And
Yes.
so that was when I decided to do a switch and like completely change my lifestyle. And so that was when I fully like became self-aware and realized, oh shit, I have so much to work on. It's not just my career that like I can't just do my comedy and then not just forget about the rest of my other parts of my life. So yeah, that was the big moment.
Nice. And it's nice for you and your brother to have each other, to both realize you're both in a place that you need to grow, and
Hmm.
you both can keep each other accountable too, which makes it
For sure.
easier.
100%. And like we realize now like wow, if we didn't have each other or if you don't have a support base or people that like lean on and help each other out, it's really hard to get out of those funks. It's really hard to get out of those mindsets or whatever. Because like what, no matter how good I think I know something or where I'm going, I have blind spots that I can't see that someone else can see, right? Like there's certain things that you do in your daily
Yes.
life that you don't pay attention to, but someone else can call that out because they're the one looking at you, watching you, right? So that's what really helped more than anything, and that's why I'm a strong believer of having people to lean on, and it's really like the 5 people around you matter the most, in my opinion, and I'm lucky to have that.
Nice. That's a good feeling to have. And
Yeah.
there's some things where even like your blind spot, that thing might not actually be in a blind spot, but it's so difficult to take in and realize, okay, this is a problem in my life, like, and actually admit that to yourself. And if
Mm.
someone else is able to call you out on that because they don't have that emotional bias,
Yeah, exactly.
you have to swallow it.
Yeah, 100%. And let me tell you, bro, I am uh I'm pretty I get defensive when people tell me that I'm doing something wrong or like I'm on the
Yes.
wrong path, and like I get pissed because I'm like I'm so mad that it's true. But I'd
Yes.
rather I'd rather go through that than just completely ignore it and hurt myself in the future, right? So, in a way, I'm very grateful that I have that someone to call me out and on my bullshit or to help guide me into a better path. So,
And you know where your brother's coming from with it. He's not
yeah,
coming
yeah,
from a place of like
putting me
trying
down
to
or
build
anything. Yeah,
exactly. He's trying to
yeah,
build you
build
up.
you up exactly. Yeah, and like because like he knows me the most. We spend the most time together, and um, he's emotionally unattached to what I'm doing, right? So he can just straight up tell me, and it's not going to affect him. But he has to be the one to tell me, or otherwise I'm not going to see for myself.
Yes.
I'm too emotionally attached to what I'm doing.
Yes, we all are. And so it's good you have that. And hopefully, we all can pick up a habit like that, keeping
Yeah,
us
for sure,
accountable.
definitely. Yeah, it's the key, man.
So you stated you're a rebel, and it's kind of going back to what we just spoke about. Whenever someone tells you, and this is me too, whenever someone tells me, you got to do this, this is the way, you're just like, no.
Yeah.
And you, were a rebel. You said you were a rebel when you were growing up, and you come from, you know, an Iranian household living in a Canadian, in Canada. What does being a rebel what does being a rebel for you as a child look like?
So I was rebellious in negative ways. I almost kind of it was the reason why I let go of myself completely throughout my teens and my young adulthood. And because I was too rebellious to the point where I wouldn't even like help myself. I would just like kind of let go of myself, right? And also it kind of because my parents were a little more easygoing and they wouldn't really like punish me as much as other parents would do. I would see that as an opportunity to like, oh fuck it, like I can do whatever I want. And it actually hurt me later in my life because now I'm like now I have a harder path to fixing my habits. Even though I'm doing it and I'm grateful that I am fixing them now, it definitely made it harder for me to work on them in my life now. So I was very rebellious in terms of I would just like not listen to what people would say, or I would just kind of like slack off. I was lazy. I wouldn't, I wouldn't have any like structure in my day. I had no routines, none of that shit. And obviously, it brought me to a place where I pretty much hit rock bottom, and I was like very unhealthy in my personal life, and I just kind of had no motivation for anything else. And I hated academics. I didn't really care to do well in school, and so on and so on. So in a way, it was quite negative, but there's a small percentage of it that is a positive outlook on
Yes.
it. So, but now it's obviously mostly all positive, and there's barely any negative parts of me being rebellious. But still a lot of things to work on. But as long as I'm aware, which I am, that's all that matters. And it's a long process. It's a lifelong journey of working on this shit. It's like
Yes.
I've been struggling with sleep my whole life, like because I've never had any routine or structure, right? So I always kind of slept whenever I wanted, woke up whenever I wanted. I was sleeping. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't
Yes.
get shit done that way. That your whole day's back fucked up and backwards, and I don't know. It's just it's too chaotic. So it's been 2.5 years now, almost 3 years that I've been working on fixing my sleep alone, like just the sleep, and I'm just getting better at it now. And people underestimate how effective and important sleep is
Absolutely.
to your day and your life. So yeah, it's just like the small things like that.
What are some things you're doing to improve your sleep?
So it all like everything ties in together, honestly, all the habits that you have in your day. So I've tried to build a morning routine and a night routine that can set me up for proper sleep and a proper morning to have a good day so I can have a proper sleep again at night. You know, it's like a cycle. So one thing that I have been incorporating into my daily routine is at night before I sleep, first of all, I try not to look at any blue light at least an hour to 2 hours before I go to sleep. So, if that means, either reading something or talking to my family or someone, talk to someone on the phone, like whatever, something that doesn't put my eyes on a screen, which is just scientifically proven that it'll it'll fuck up your entire sleep if you do look at blue light before you sleep. Also, I tried to sleep before midnight around 11. 10 to 11 is peak time to go to sleep. For your circadian rhythms to be like on point. Between the hours of 10 to 4 a.m. is like peak sleeping time. It's like that's when you're going to be the most efficient and the most deep sleep that you'll get. After that, you'll fuck up the cycle. So I've been trying to do that, more, and also a couple hours before I go to sleep, I actually have certain lights in my room that like it's like low vibration. So obviously, like I'm not gonna like completely go pitch black at 8 p.m. So after 8:30, I start to like put on like lower level lights. So I have like these red lights that help, um, stuff like that. And so yeah, I've been trying to do that. It's still been hard. Sometimes I go past 11. Obviously, I sleep at 12. I've slept at 1 a.m. Like I'm still working on it, right? Like it's
Yes.
just like a constant like habit like building and like, but it's much better than before. I would sleep at like 3, 4, or 5 a.m. And now I'm sleeping at like midnight, which is pretty fucking good compared to
Huge.
where I was a couple years ago. So I'm doing that, and then in the mornings when I wake up, I try to wake up at the same exact time every morning. So
What
I'm
time is
aiming
that?
to I'm aiming to get to 8 a.m. But right now it's like roughly 9:30. So which is also much better than before. I'd wake up at 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m. So it's a massive improvement, and that's how I look at it. I don't look at it as like, oh, like I'm just I can't do it or this I'm bad. It means I'm a bad person. Like no, man. Like I made so much progress from where I was before, and I know it's gonna get to 8 a.m. soon, and then 7 a.m. and then whatever, right? So the main thing in all this is that I'm not judging myself
No.
on like like that's the key in my opinion is like sure like man I've been trying to do this for 2.5 years and I still can't wake up at 8 like it doesn't mean I'm like
Yes.
a lazy person or a terrible person.
No.
I just have to really like completely change my mindset and like rewire it,
Rewire. Yeah.
right? So and I'm working towards that, and it's been getting better and better every day. And so yeah, and also when I wake up at the same time every day, I don't check my phone for at least an hour. I do my thing, whatever. I stretch a little bit, and then I meditate for 10 minutes,
Nice.
and then I work out, and then so on and so on. So yeah, man, that's just like the main part of my life. I'm really trying to improve right now, and that's it, man. Like if I don't have that, if I don't have a proper routine to set me up for the rest of the day, I'm fucked. I can't do the shit I
Absolutely.
do online or
No.
go travel and do comedy and act, So yeah, man.
Yes. And it's it like you said, it affects everything. And it's you said for 2.5 years you've been trying to improve this, but I mean, for me personally, like I've been, it's been about that long for me too, but like 10, 12 years, I'm 28, 10, 12 years before that, screens until like way late, this doing on the internet, on social media, on whatever, till like very late hours of the night. And these habits have been formed, and they were formed in a very, very, I don't know how to say, a time in our lives where our habits really, really are getting ingrained within our brain.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah, like peak development, peak
yes, peak
in your brain.
development.
You're in your because
Yes.
our brains are like fully developed by like 25, right? So it's like those like peak times from your teens to like young adulthood is when like you really you really like take in the most information, and
Yes.
that wires you however you are.
Yes. And, I had a lot of bad habits too. And just recognizing those and making the attempt to improve them alone and it's not an easy pill to swallow, because we're gonna fail constantly. It's like every day you can look at it like somehow you failed in your
Hmm.
ambition to improve. But if just taking in those failures, being okay with it, not judging yourself, and just realizing like this is something I got to do, not just because it's healthy or whatever, but because the things that you love to do, and the things that connect us with everyone else, and people really enjoy, the things that we give to society that people love and then are willing to give back to us, are directly affected by our sleep, how we feel emotionally, physically. And you said it, if you can't be on camera doing what you do if you're not in a good place off camera.
Hmm.
And it's very true. And I think for someone who's put themselves a lot on camera in the last year, it's hard to fake what we do on here.
Hmm.
So
100%.
it's we got to be at our best for ourselves and for everyone else, or I don't think we could do it.
Well, it's not sustainable long term.
No.
I realize because there has been a couple times where I would get to a point where I just kind of crash when I was too focused on the career mode and less on my personal life, and I couldn't do it anymore. So I had to take a break. I had to take a month off because I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know, like I'm just like loose cannon, just fucking
Yes.
just in the wild, right? So I had to develop some structure into my daily life in order to continue making the content every day and thinking about comedy and stuff like that. So super important. And a lot of people neglect it for sure. Especially now in this day and age, like people are so complacent on, just technology and social media and all that stuff. People are getting very comfortable and just being lazy and not doing much for themselves. They really neglect that stuff. And I didn't want to be that type of person anymore, at least. Like, because that's I was doing that my whole life, and so I just got tired of it. I was like, yeah, I can't live like this. I gotta improve, or else I'm gonna be fucking a potato for the rest of my life, and I don't want to
Yes.
do that. So all that shit's important.
It is very important. And I'm glad, we both recognize that, and are doing something
Yeah,
about it
for
for
sure.
ourselves.
You have to. Yeah.
Yes. Um,
Otherwise, you're gonna eventually hit a point where you just crash, and then you'll realize for real what the fuck you're doing.
what do you do for that month off?
Oh, honestly, I took a whole month off and I didn't even check my phone the entire month. Like
Wow.
nothing. I didn't do it. I just completely left it because I was like, I need to fully detach myself from that world first in order to even like slowly dive back in. So I started from zero. I literally started from like the basics of waking up and making my bed in the morning, which I also never did in my life. Something simple as that, I would never do until I took that month off and I completely started to like think about myself and help myself. And so I mean, this wouldn't have happened if my brother wasn't around, my brother wasn't around to actually help me and guide me to do
Nice.
that stuff. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. And also from
No.
like I've read some books too that really helped me stay accountable. Um,
What are some of those books?
so the first book I completely read for the first time in my life at the age of fucking 26, um, all the way through was by David Goggins, and it
Nice.
was called Can't Hurt Me, which is I think it really definitely shaped my whole outlook on life in general and really boosted me a lot in that time. I needed it at the time. That and then also Gary Vee's book called Crushing It, and all that stuff kind of like happened at the same time, and where when I really needed it to take in the information, and that really helped me to realize what I needed to work on, and it kind of just gave me a boost of confidence to help myself more and develop my habits better. So yeah, when I read those books, I definitely started to push myself mentally and physically, and I start to make my bed in the morning. I would start to make it a habit. I would not check my phone in the morning after an hour or two. I would I journaled a little bit at the start.
Nice.
Um, you know, went for a walk, just like five. Like at the time, I wasn't doing any exercise really. I was just like I used to play sports a lot in high school and competitively all that shit, and then I kind of stopped after I got out for a few years until I got to this point, and then I was like, yo, let me just like go for a 5 minute walk, right? Start somewhere.
Yes.
At the time, I'm like, because like people are ashamed, like, oh, 5 minutes, what are you like, you know, it's nothing. But for me, it was a lot to just start and to just
Yes.
get back into it. And I did that. In 5 minutes, I was like already tired, which is crazy because now I'm doing like four days a week heavy workouts for an hour and a half. So
Nice.
it's like if I didn't start doing that 2.5 years ago, I wouldn't be here now.
No.
And it took time. It took a long time. But that's the thing. It's like you just have to have patience, and it's a long term process. And so I did that whole month. Just started with the basics, and then it led me to have the confidence to to incorporate my personal life routines and mix them with my career routines. And then I finally found a balance in my life. And then it led me to this point now. It's been 2 years since I took that month off. And
Nice.
so far I haven't crashed at all because I've I've made it a very important part of my life to have the balance of the two. And so therefore it works. It's more way more efficient. Um I have a proper solid routine throughout the day, the morning and night, and I don't feel like I need a month off anymore because I'm happy with the routines I've built for myself this whole time. And that's it. And that's
Nice.
it. You know, eventually I'm gonna keep upgrading and finding different ways and better ways. But for now, this is what's working for me.
That's huge. And I had another man on the podcast, an actor, and he was saying some people, they'll travel all over the world to find something that they're looking for. Just they'll travel to Southeast Asia, then South America, then Europe, and all these places looking for something. And sometimes, and then at the end, we said, routine and, the small things. If you can bring these small things to anywhere, like say, whatever your routine is, maybe working out for 45 minutes outside, maybe meditating for 10 minutes in the morning, maybe, taking a 5-minute walk. You could take that anywhere and apply that, and you'll have what you need going into, and if you travel or if you stay in a single place, it really doesn't matter, because you know we can't we I don't think what we need is outside of us. Like, we
Yeah,
can, it's in here.
100%.
And that's not an easy thing to find. It takes, years to even apply habits. When we realize that, happiness and comfort and well-being is just here. We have to be okay with everything, and then we can take that mentality outwards, and people will be much more willing to take in whatever we put out there.
Yeah, definitely. And people can sense uh the genuine
Authenticity.
authenticity of what you're bringing to the table. You know,
Yes.
people can read through the camera and whatever, wherever you are. Um, yeah, so that's all so true.
So that's a good leeway into, your career. You seem very authentic on camera and, in this conversation, which isn't simple for a lot of people. Being authentic in a public area, you know, we feel like we can be pretty vulnerable, or someone's going to judge us, and people don't like being judged. How do you bring that authenticity to, comedy, acting, to the creation, the content creation you do?
I just believe in being myself, no matter what the situation is. It's exhausting trying to be someone I'm not,
Yes.
and I have always hated that. I've always just, like I said, the rebellious part, the positive part is this, is me being rebellious against like trying to like impress other people or being someone I'm not, just to cater to a certain type of people. I don't give a shit about that. If I can't be myself, like I'll hate what I'm doing. So that's a main reason why I couldn't work a 9 to 5 job, because I'm like, you'd have to kind of put on a fake persona just to like be
Yes.
professional. I'm like, fuck being professional. Like I'm professional in the most
Yes.
way, in my own way. Like I'm not like
You're
a ass.
respectful.
I'm respectful. I'm not an asshole. Like I'll treat people with kindness and shit. And I speak how I like to speak. Like I don't like to change my speech because I work for a certain person or whatever. So in that sense, like I'm rebellious, but in a way where I'm at least comfortable, and I'm still like very I still have a positive outlook on life and towards other people. So um, I just, whether it's on a camera or not, I remain the same way I am as with my family at home. So yeah, and luckily, like I'm very confident in doing that. Like I actually don't care about what other people's judgments are, because I know it's not a complete reflection of who I am as a person, because they don't
No.
have full context on who I am. Only the people who know me know my context. So that's all that matters to me. Like as long as I know myself and I'm working on becoming a better person, that's all that matters. And I just portray that. I just do my thing.
Nice.
I don't let like different voices and opinions get in my way, because I've let that take over me my whole life, as a kid, as as a teenager. Like I would get caught up on what other people are thinking about me, and that really like drove me into a darker place. So now I'm just free of that. I'm very free of that, and it's the most freeing thing, um,
Yes.
and liberating feeling to have.
Yes. It's very liberating, because caring a lot about what other people think, first of all, we could be creating these fake stories in our head that aren't real. And, like you said, if someone says something mean to us and does something that we find, they might say something that's true, but most of what they just put out is a reflection of themselves. And that's not obvious to a lot of people.
Hmm.
But when that becomes obvious, it's very easy. It's like much easier to take it in and just let it go.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know. That's the best feeling, in my opinion.
Yes. So, what was your first piece of comedy or first piece of acting that you put out, when you were 7 years ago?
I started off with the basics of what I knew dear in my heart, which was stuff about my family, specifically my mom. And I just kind of did what I thought was funny at the time, which is impersonating my mom and doing a Persian accent, which is the most basic I could get. And I was really good at it. I was really good at it. So I did it. I just like I just did a video, random video of imitating my mom as a parent versus like white parents and how they would react in certain situations. And I just put it out. I was like, I don't know, this is all I know right now. And then I just put it out, and actually kind of went semi-viral, like
Wow.
within the community. So that really definitely helped boost my confidence as well at the time to keep
Was this
going.
on Instagram?
No, it was YouTube. I didn't. There was no TikTok or Instagram at the time, like
Oh, wow.
videos at least, right? I was just strictly posting on YouTube. I didn't know anything else. And let me tell you, man, it was tough. It was a tough 3 4 years trying to build an audience and getting views on YouTube. It was really hard, and I pretty much the highest views I would get was that video, the first video, which has like now like 250,000 views, which
Nice.
is really like nothing if you think about it, like compared to like what it could be. But at the time, that was a lot for me, and it even though the rest of the videos I've posted in those 3 4 years got like 200, 300, 400 views, which was shit, at least I got something, and like I
Yes.
knew like there eventually I would be rewarded for my efforts and my consistency. So from the
Yes.
jump, even though I had shit views, I was like, one day it's gonna work. I just know it. And and I didn't know when or how it was gonna help me or work, but I knew it would. And eventually, after the 4 or 5 year mark, when I started to post on Instagram, finally, because people were posting Instagram content now, micro content, smaller videos. I started to post on there, and then TikTok came, and I started to post, and then like all of a sudden, shit just started to fire. Like
Nice.
it would pick up quickly. It would get like pretty big views. Other pages would repost my shit. Start to get a little bit viral here and there locally, and then that's what kind of like it started to fire on all cylinders at that point because I was like, oh, okay, finally, like something's working. But that wouldn't have happened if I didn't start posting all those videos for 4 years prior on YouTube because I had the habit already of doing videos. So I was like, I'm not scared to post smaller videos now. And so when I started to do that and it started to work, I was like, yes. And that kind of like sprung me forward like crazy with with not only just the following I have online, but mentally it really helped me like kind of be at ease and relax and be like, oh, okay, this is I really like set in that in my mind that this is it's going to be a long process.
Yes.
You just have to have the patience, and without even knowing it, I did have that because I never gave up. I never gave up on myself. I never like
No.
got discouraged. Like
4 years is a long time.
it was fucking long, and even till now, I'm like it's been 7 years. Like I like it's still like tough at times, and I some of my videos bomb and they do bad, but I'm like, all right, well, this is just a part of the process. Once again, is
Yes.
this is what happens. Like you can't have every video be a banger or go
No.
viral. It's not gonna happen. Like same way any other person who's a comedian or whatever, like not everything they put out is complete fire. Like
No.
it's rare for that to happen. So even the best comedians bomb on stage. So when I really think about that, it really puts my mind at ease and helps me to relax and just trust the process pretty much and just keep going. And just the main thing the main lesson I learned is that consistency is the key in all this, and
Yes.
eventually you'll be rewarded for your efforts.
It's not easy to see, and 4 years is a long time. What were some of the most difficult things about, only having a couple hundred views for that long? And how did you maintain the will to be consistent?
So, um, yeah, the hardest part was just the unknown of not knowing where this is going. Like I didn't like I had obviously a goal and a vision to I want to become the best comedian and actor there is in the
Nice.
world. I've always loved to I always saw myself as like on a big stage in front of massive crowds doing
Is
stand up, like having like reaching a worldwide audience of people online, and just
is
living my life like that.
is that your goal, to be the greatest comedian and actor of all time?
Yeah, 100%. I want to leave like a fucking massive legacy of but like in a different way than usual people. Like, there's certain people who are legendary comedians, and then some people are legendary actors, legendary musicians. Like I want to fucking do it all. I want to be I want to leave a legacy of being a comedian and an actor and a musician and like just like someone who's a chameleon and like does everything. Like because I can and I know I have those talents and skills.
Potential.
I just need to keep putting myself out there and never give up. And that's
No.
how you build a legacy and to always just provide value to everybody as much as you can and never look back.
Providing value is key. People don't realize how important that is. And I don't know where I heard this, but I heard this like scientific study or something. I don't know what. It might not have been a scientific study, but pretty much the argument was that within a tribe, the
Mm.
most valued person isn't the like hunter, the best business person. It's the
Yeah.
most entertaining person in the tribe.
Right. Yeah.
Like, and that's huge value. Like we love being entertained, and people love movies, they love music, they love laughing at comedy. Comedy is very difficult too. Especially in a stand-up format. I think the um, video format is a lot easier. How do you compare stand-up versus short form video?
Yeah, I agree with all that. First of all, like when people when people are sad or happy or down or lazy or whatever the fuck they're feeling, they always turn to entertainment. I
Yes.
always say that. So without us as comedians, musicians, artists in general, like what the fuck are people gonna do? They have nothing.
No,
And so
nothing.
I think it's very underappreciated as well,
Yes.
still to this day and age. But I think the arts is one of the most powerful things this world has. It really helps people get through slumps and like literally helps them like live their lives better just by
Yes.
watching entertainment and consuming entertainment. And so um whatever avenue that is, it's always very helpful. In terms of the short form content, like video content and the stage, um did you ask which one's better or which one I like better?
No, just what's the comparisons, and if yeah,
Oh,
which
okay.
one you like better too.
So obviously, video content reaches a much wider audience than stand up can, like on stage, obviously. Um, but I think they're both just as powerful. Just depends on like who you are and what you like. I personally enjoy the live performance more than anything, being on a stage in front of real people and a real audience, because nothing beats getting that real in real time feedback from other people. It's like the best feeling in the world. And I love doing both of them. Content is great. I love seeing people interact with me and show love and support my stuff and comment how they feel about the videos or all that stuff, how it helps them get through their days. That's great. But nothing beats the in-person performances where you can see people in real life fucking laughing at your shit and like it's crazy.
I
Strangers are
bet.
laughing at your stuff, right? And they're both honestly just equally great in my opinion, and I'm very grateful to be able to do all that stuff.
I bet. And
Yeah,
a lot of people are very happy that you're doing it.
yeah, I couldn't
Like
be happier. Yeah.
like the for me, you have some very funny stuff about, the Canadian culture, because I'm from Southern California. I have no idea
Oh,
what
nice.
Canada's
Oh, okay,
like.
cool.
And so just, seeing you walk through the snow with shorts on is pretty funny. And
Yeah,
then
I mean that anyone can laugh at that because like even if you're not from Canada, like you still still like obvious. It's like you're suffering in the snow, right? But
yes,
that's the whole point. And
yes,
it's universal. It's universal. Like, you don't need to, it's
yes.
I'm not talking straight up physical comedy, right? So anyone in the world could look at that and be like, ah, yeah, that's pretty absurd.
Yeah, exactly. And they can enjoy that. So your comedy does span much farther than just Persian comedy,
Oh
but
yeah, for sure.
the Persian community, like I mean, I can speak for myself and many other people. We just adore that, content of, you know, Bobak and,
Yeah.
just anything, really,
All right.
anything that, you memeing your mom or
Mm-hmm.
the stupid dance or just
Yeah.
really, it touches a certain subgroup so closely that they just really value it, like you said, and so you're going to get, you know the payback that, you've been putting a lot into this and over a lot of years, and it's not easy to do that and not receive, the sort of value that you feel you've earned. But
Mm-hmm.
continuing to do that and continuing to improve your skill and then touching an audience, you said it makes your day, and when you see it live it's very obvious, because I can imagine you're behind a screen, it's not as easy to like take in,
Yeah.
but it's huge for people really find comfort in that.
Well, yeah. I truly appreciate that, and I'm glad that you love the Persian stuff too.
Yes.
It started off honestly with just the Persian stuff when I was first doing content. Um, but like one key thing that I really made sure to do was to not box myself into just the
No.
Persian stuff, because I wouldn't be where I am right now if I just did Persian stuff from the very beginning,
Yes.
which I was
No.
doing at the beginning. I was for the first couple of years, I was mostly just my Persian stuff. But I realized, like, I was like, if I want to be the greatest comedian and actor this world has seen, it can't just be off one thing. I have to
No.
show my other talents too. I can't get complacent and comfortable doing one thing. So
And that one thing only touches a small group
small,
of people.
exactly, because yeah, exactly. And so when I realized that, and I'm very happy I made that decision from an early stage of my career to not just do the Persian stuff, and especially other people, my even my brother and my close friends also kind of told me to try to do different shit too from the beginning. So I'm really grateful that I had that. Not just me thinking that, but other people around me telling me, um,
Yes.
and the people I trust. And so I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't want to box myself in. So, and also I realized, I was like, I wouldn't even want to do that because I have so many other different talents and skills that I could do. That's not just Persian stuff. I have so many
Yes.
different, a variety, a range of different things I can do. And so I'm so happy that I started to do that from an early stage. And now it's brought me to a place where I have a fucking worldwide audience at this point, where from different countries and backgrounds and different types of people. And I wouldn't want anything else other than that. Because also there's just so many different types of audiences and places that this shit could bring me to.
Yes.
And if I just did the Persian stuff, like, it would be very limited. And I
Very
don't want to be
limited.
limited. I want to do everything I can, even if it's not as good as the Persian stuff, or better or worse, doesn't matter. As long as I'm doing it and it makes me happy, like, that's all that matters. And so
Yes.
that's what I really wired in my brain to do. And yeah, I couldn't be happier, for sure.
Absolutely. And I think for comedy, you have to be pretty aware, pretty observant of the things that are going on around you. Like, I think it's hard to create comedy and not, you know, like maybe not necessarily understand, but see something, be able to put it into words, and then like its absurdity, or just bring it into a form of, your own art. You have to be pretty observant of the things going on, whether you like them, don't like them, and then, kind of put a form of speech into that action or whatever that may be. And I'm sorry, I forgot my train of thought.
It's all right.
But
It happens all the time with me.
but what were we talking about?
Like, you're talking about, like, different types of speech, like
Oh,
when
but
you're
what did you say?
oh uh We both
Uh,
completely lost it. No,
yeah.
I was talking about like doing like Persian stuff and boxing myself in all that shit. Like how
Oh,
I have
yes.
different variety of different skills and talents.
Oh, yes. So we have to, so you as a comedian, you have to take things in. And when you're raised in a Persian household, that, you take in so much Persian action, so much,
Yeah.
small nuances of
Mm,
Persian life
right.
that it's really easy to put that speech and put that art and create that scene because you were just immersed in it your entire childhood.
Hmm.
Whereas bringing that outwards, you really have to go out, search for it, look at what's going on around you, and then put that same form of. At least you can make your own. This is what I think of, and the reason you may have. It's like I know another Iranian comedian who also pretty much does Iranian content,
Hmm.
but it in order to branch out, you really have to immerse yourself within the community as a whole and take in those nuances of what various people are doing. Like you're also doing Canadian content, and so you have to take in what other Canadians outside of your
Yeah,
household are doing, or you're
for sure.
doing that. I forgot her name. It's a female with blonde
Bianca.
hair, Bianca.
Bianca. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you kind of
Basic
have to,
bitch.
you have to take in, what girls,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
millennial and Gen Z girls are doing too, and
for sure.
you have to be pretty aware of like everyone else's
Yeah.
way of thinking.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's something that I've always been strong at doing is being very observant of people in general and their nuances and their mannerisms. The smallest details I always notice. Like every day, even, you know, with how people chew, how they fucking wink, like everything. Like I really pay
Yes.
attention to small details in people, and it's always been a natural talent of mine, and I'm using it to my advantage in my career, which really helps me, obviously, because like I feel like a lot of people don't do that, um, and like even if they don't do it, they when they see me do it, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like they have noticed it, but not on
Yes.
the level that I have. But when it's shown to them, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense, or oh yeah, 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 that like yeah, it's recognizable. It's recognizable. So um, it's something that I definitely I work on too. Like I'm very conscious of continuing to do that. I really do pay attention to people when they talk and how they look or where they look or their pause in their speech, like all that shit. Like I really pay attention to it. Um, One intentionally and also subconsciously, just like naturally, my brain is wired that way to just notice shit. So
Nice.
that's why I do the wide variety of things I do, the wide array of voices and impressions and accents and all that stuff and jokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And okay.
And like you said, like because I lived in a Persian household my whole life, like obviously that's my strongest impression or accent that I can do. Um, but I grew up. I'm so lucky to grow up in Toronto, Canada, which is one of the most like culturally diverse places in the world.
Yes.
Because it's a melting pot of different cultures and people and backgrounds that I was exposed to at a young age. Like all my friends, we're all different, but we all have different backgrounds, and so I grew up around them and their parents, going over to their houses, and they're all immigrants. So I'm like sick. Okay, like they're all my mom, just in a different way, and so seeing that growing up over the years, it really kind of just set into my brain like, oh, okay, like it was very easy for me to distinguish between certain cultures and different accents. I was like, oh, this person talks like this. I would always imitate everyone. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, I'd meet someone and like people just like it was a known thing that I could just imitate them, and like I would just do it on the spot, and I wasn't afraid to do it because I knew and people knew it was all out of love, first of all, but also
Yes.
like it's just funny. It's funny, like because like
Yes.
to imitate like life is that's what art is, and so that's hilarious. And I was like, I don't know, it just became a part of who I am as a person now. So
And, like you said, imitating life is a part of art. And for, those small nuances that you are able to take in, you're able to create a scene, some content around it, and then you're able to produce that content. That's a lot easier for people to digest than it being written down and told to them in some
Mhm.
sort of like, this is how it is format.
Yeah,
People are
yeah,
more willing to accept it, and it's
right,
just way easier to take in.
100%. Yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely.
And going to what you said about growing up in Toronto, like you had content about, I think, Russians,
Everyone, like
Filipino,
everyone. Yeah,
Chinese, Arabic, Iranian,
yeah,
Canadian.
yeah.
I think my favorite
There's
was
Greek, Italian, all that stuff.
the guy from Breaking Bad.
Oh,
What was
Jesse
it?
Pinkman. Jesse
That
Pinkman.
was so good.
Nice.
What drove that one? Like, what
I
was the
just
reason you created it?
man, honestly, like every character I do, whether it's original or not, like an original character of mine or a celebrity or whatever, it just happens. Like I don't force it. I just like I stumble upon the voice, and I like I said, I would always notice small nuances in people. That's how I am when I watch TV or movies. I like when someone starts talking, I'm like, oh, let me try to do this person's voice. I think it's cool. And then I'll just do it. And then I'm like, if I could do it, I'll be like, oh, sick, I can actually do it. Let me do a video on it. If I can, then I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm obviously not gonna try it, but um, so Jesse Pinkman, I watched that show obviously like religiously. I watched it twice too, and I don't know, it was just something that like it just clicks in my brain. I'm like, it just comes out of me. Like it's like I can't even stop it from happening. Like when I think of Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad, I just start doing the voice, or like I know how he is in the show and how he acts, so I just my body naturally forms into that person, and like my face and shit. I just kind of I can just morph into that person, and so yeah, and his voice is like it's always fun to do. It's just like it's like
It's
yo
funny to
bitch.
hear yours. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And like my voice, my vocal range, it can match his voice, and so it's very easy for me to do it, and so I just do it. Yeah.
Are there characters you can't do because your vocal range doesn't match?
Oh yeah, there's plenty for sure. Like people think like, oh, like what can't you do? I'm like, there's a lot I can't do. Obviously, like there's certain like high pitched ones or sorry, yeah, high pitched, but the most ones I can't do are usually in the middle. Like I can go really deep in my voice and pretty high at times,
Okay.
but there's always that middle part that's hard for me to do. It's like in the middle. But yeah, like there's tons I can't do obviously, which I'm fine with, but there are a lot I can that I also are I haven't really tried yet, but I know I can if I work on it, I'll develop. And also there are probably other voices that I haven't even like discovered yet that I can do, which will come to me eventually. But until that time, I'm just gonna keep working on the stuff I have and other new stuff that comes my way, and that's it, man. Just constant trying, just trying shit.
Yes. What so when you say trying shit, do you think it's I mean, there are some things like, watching Breaking Bad and being able to take in Jesse's character and, portray that in your body, that doesn't come naturally to me and that doesn't come
Yeah.
naturally to a lot of people.
Hmm.
But do you think so? And when you say continually trying, you read David Goggins' book, and he's like the guy where it's like,
Yeah, he's fucked.
stay hard.
Yeah, stay
What?
hard. Yeah, he's fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just fucking do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, do you think that's the attitude? Like, I don't really want to go and create a scene right now. Like you said earlier, creating habits is important. Like, trying not to be there past 10 or you
Hmm.
and trying to, you know, 10-4, trying to sleep in that range and not
Yeah.
taking in an hour before
Hmm.
sleep any screen time. But do you think that doing what you do requires like that David Goggins type of attitude where it's like, I don't feel like doing this right now, but boom, I got to
Mhm.
go do it.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Like, because like from the very beginning when I dropped out of university to do comedy, I was like, ever since that day, every day I've had that like greatness mindset of like I have to be the best,
The
and
best.
whatever it takes, I have to do that. I have to do it because I'm not going back. There's no plan B.
No.
I have to be I have to be committed to greatness. I have to be committed to being the best I can be every day. And I'll fuck up a lot, which I have.
Yes.
But at least if I have the mindset and the thought of just trying and doing better each day, I'm gonna get to that point eventually. And so that's it, man. Like and David Goggins, like Gary V, fucking Jocko Willink, like all these people who are self help guys who are also like strong ass individuals, like mentally and physically. Along the way, that helps me to keep going. It keeps fresh in my mind that like it's like constant reminders that I can always do better. Um,
Yes.
but like also, I'm not like dissatisfied with what I'm doing. I'm just saying
No.
you can always be better. Like I'm happy doing what I'm doing, but I do want to be better and grow and keep growing. And that's the key to life right there.
Yes. You said earlier, not judging yourself is important, but
Hmm.
not being complacent because we don't want
Yeah.
to be, we want to, being complacent isn't going to lead to where we want to go.
No, not at all. Like it's it's gonna being complacent is just gonna make things worse, and it's gonna make you fall off and kind of lose motivation, and like
Yes.
I don't know, it's not gonna get you anywhere.
No, it's not. So you mentioned you also read Gary V's book. What book was that?
Crushing it.
What did you get from that book?
So for Gary Vee is honestly like one of my I look up to him a lot. He's definitely become one of my newest inspirations and idols in my life. That and I'll also do obviously like an impression of him
Yes,
too.
the shawarma one
Um,
is fantastic.
yeah, blueberries.
Blue
Um,
crazy. Does he
so yeah,
eat blueberries
yeah. So
or
he like there's videos of him saying like, bro, like I don't fucking eat lunch. I eat fucking blueberries, bro. Okay, and like he just like he loves blueberries. He always talks about how he loves blueberries and like that's all he eats and shit. Like so that's where it came from. Um, but yeah, like his message is just like he's redefining what an alpha male is.
yes.
It's not the fucking jock guy who's a dick to people and like whatever is like makes a lot of money and like whatever has nice cars. Like his definition of alpha male is like to treat people with kindness and do what makes you happy and what you love in life and to just like and to put that out there for people to see and like and to create value and give people value. That's what an alpha male is. Like, that's what he's trying to redefine the word of alpha male. And so and his and also his message is like just fucking just try shit, just try new shit, try shit that are interesting to you and do that. Talk about what you know. Talk about things you like. Don't conform to like a 9 to 5 just because everyone else is doing it or this and that. Like if you do like to do a 9 to 5, then do it. He's not saying like don't do these regular jobs. We need doctors. We need fucking plumbers. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Yes.
you want to do that, do it. But don't do it because you feel like you have to. Do shit that you want to
No.
do. If you want to talk about sports cards every day, fucking do that. You know, like so. That's his message, and it really stuck with me heavy because I'm like, it was like at the time where I was just starting to do like more consistent content on Instagram and TikTok, and that's when I started to read his book and learn about him more, and it really pushed me to be way more consistent and and daily too. Like just fucking this guy is a savage, and he posts like 60 pieces of content a day. So I'm
Yes.
like what the fuck am I doing here, right? So it really pushed me to like put more content out, and also to not. That's where I got the not judging yourself is from Gary Vee because he's like, bro, like if people don't have context, who gives a fuck? Like if you know yourself and you know what you're doing, just do it. Like
Yes.
don't let other people's opinions and judgments affect how you live your daily life. Like they just don't know. They don't know. And so when people give you negative criticism or positive reinforcement, like don't even listen to both of those because you also don't want to ride a high and think that you're some fucking great king But
No.
at the same time, you don't want to think that you're also shit at what you do or you're a terrible person. Just like stay true to who you are and listen to yourself more than anything, and just keep going. Like observe your surroundings, but just do what you love at the end of the day, and eventually you will shine and fucking things will work out. So I don't know. It's just a bunch of that stuff, and yeah, just to be confident, man. It's just be confident in your decisions and your actions, and just go for it. Just you never know what's gonna happen. You never know what you're gonna like or what you're gonna be good at if you don't try new shit. So
No. A
just keep
lot.
trying.
I was once told by someone that they don't like trying new shit because they don't like failing.
Yeah,
And
that's stupid. That's
it's
stupid.
very stupid. It's like it's gonna keep us within a box. That would be like you never diversifying from Persian content.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
And if
It's
you
the
did
worst.
that, you would be much smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Your audience would be much smaller,
Mm-hmm.
and you definitely wouldn't be able to be the greatest actor and comedian of all time.
Yeah, 100%. Because like, to be in order to be great, you got to reach as much people as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the only way. How else are you
Yes.
gonna be great? How are you gonna leave a legacy? Right? So that's what I want to do. I want to fucking reach everybody. Like, not that I'm catering to people, but I just want I want to allow the access for as many people as possible in this world to enjoy my content and my material
Yes.
and my comedy and my acting. Like, I want to be able to be relatable to everybody if I can.
Yes.
Not that I'm catering to anybody, but I just want to allow the option of people to relate to me as a human being because everyone's a human being and they can relate to that.
Yes. And going back, we'll go back to catering in a second, but that's what I think your Christmas cards did, where it's
Yeah,
like
the Santa, yeah.
the Santa the Santa
Right.
cards. It's
Yeah,
like if anyone's ever seen Breaking Bad, they can, and which is a huge audience that,
yeah, for
many
sure.
non-Persians, many non-immigrants,
Hmm.
non-Canadians, either people in USA and possibly people,
Everywhere.
international,
Yeah,
they can enjoy that minute of content you put out there, and
yeah,
that's a huge connection for you.
definitely.
So, and it's not you catering to that, which, so, that's just you wanting to reach those people, wanting them to enjoy you want to entertain them so that they gain value out of you doing what you do.
Yeah, for sure.
It,
100%.
and you recently had an Instagram video of, you were doing an impression of Pablo Escobar and it was deleted.
Yeah.
What happened there?
So I don't know what happened with fucking Instagram this past year or so, but ever since like pretty much last year, I've been getting these like violation guidelines, whatever, warnings for random shit that like that I'm not even doing wrong. Like they would take away comments of mine on my own post of me replying to other people
Wow.
who are commenting on my post because they think it's harassment or bullying. When like what they don't realize is like, for example, I post a basic bitch video, right? Um, Someone comments, "Oh, this is lovely," or "This is funny," or whatever the fuck they comment. I always respond back, and sometimes I respond back like in the same lingo and language that that character would talk as.
Okay.
So it's like someone would write a comment, and I'd be like, "Yes, bitch," right? Like I don't mean like, "Oh yeah, bitch." Like it's just like how that girl would talk. It's
And
a character. It's not me talking. It's not it's not it's not real English language. You know what I mean? Like
yes,
it's just
it's
it's
not
slang.
Neema Naz.
No. It's not me being serious. It's me just joking around. It's me being whatever. Um, and
And
they
there's
would
no
take
context there.
there's no context exactly. So without the context, they think I'm just fucking being harassing someone by saying yes, bitch. Like, no, that's just how that character would talk, and people know that who are interacting with me. But Instagram, for some reason, flags that shit because the algorithm's fucking weird and dumb, And yeah, and they give me warnings, and that's happened to me like 9 different times on
Wow.
just comments. And then eventually got to a point where I posted the Pablo Escobar video, and I took it down for violence and all this other shit. I'm like, the fuck, man? Like, it's just a character. Like, everyone's seen Narcos. Narcos is everywhere.
Yes.
Like, videos of Narcos is everywhere, and they don't take
Everywhere.
those down.
No.
So what the fuck? And so I don't know. They took that shit down. And then they even a picture of me as dressed as Pablo Escobar. They took that down too. I
Really?
posted a picture of me in the outfit because I thought it was sick. And then they took that down too because like
Wow.
it was violence or inciting violence. And I'm like, bro, this world is going to shit if they're taking shit like this down. But there's like literally porn and other
Yes.
bullshit being
Yes.
posted everywhere, and they don't take that shit down. All these bots and spam. Like, how about you fucking worry about that and not my comedy, right? So, I had to literally find like Facebook's appeal process and Instagram, whatever, and we had to write a whole essay, my brother
Wow.
and I, about like why they shouldn't remove it, who I am as a person, what I do. This is what I do, and just like a whole spiel of why they shouldn't remove it or like put it back, or and because the worst part is when they give me these warnings, now my account, it says you are very close to losing your account
Wow.
permanently. So I'm
That's
like, bro, just because of this one post, all this work I've been putting in for the past 3 years on this app, you're putting my account at risk. Like that's like threatening. I'm like, why? I haven't done anything wrong. Like there's so much worse shit out there. Like, why are you worrying about my
a
stuff? It's
lot
like,
more worse.
how is this affecting people in a negative way? I don't get it. And so that was when it kind of really kind of pissed me off because I'm like, um, this app is meant to reach audiences and wide audiences of people. How do you expect me to do that if you can't let me express myself of like
Yes.
literally naturally of who I am? And so that's when all the censorship came into play, and it's been really tough. Like to I never feel at ease anymore to just post whatever I want because I'm like, what if this fucking gets taken down? So that's why I feel like more and more every day, these like Patreon or private pages or OnlyFans and shit, it makes sense because like it's
People who
all
want to
it
digest your content.
yeah, it's all your own private page now, like your domain. No one can take that shit down. And so that's why we're slowly working towards doing that eventually because I know it's going that way. And like a lot of people are getting their pages taken down, they're getting banned. It happened to me on TikTok, like all that stuff happened. So it's like it's very close to getting to that point where like, we're just gonna do our own club, private club. People can like, either for free or $5 a month to just like so I can post anything I want and they'll get all of it. And so I don't
Wow.
know. It's pretty bullshit that it has to get to that point, but that's what happens when fucking all this censorship happens and all this PC bullshit comes into play in society of politically
Yes.
correctness and so, all this media that brainwashes people to think that this should be offensive to you or this is wrong, like this is right. But how do you? It's wrong to who? It's offensive to
Yes.
who?
Yes.
Right? Everything's subjective. How could it be
Yes.
offensive to everybody? It's not. And so yeah, that's why freedom of speech has become like way tougher to actually like to have.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, but you know what
Especially
I
on
mean.
these online social media apps. Because,
Yeah. It's all run by these private companies who just like whatever they want to do, they can do it, and
yes.
that's why people like me are being affected by it.
And it's not, like you get that message, you are very close to having your entire profile taken down.
Yeah.
That, and you put in 3 years of work into that app with your content brought many viewers to the app that sometimes will just turn on the app to go to your page to share your link to someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know it's a two-way relationship where they need their content, they need the people that are posting that have high followings to continue what they're doing in order for them to be able to make a profit too.
Hmm.
And it's a question whether maybe there are some things that do incite violence that they flag, that, you know, that maybe there could be a debate that it's worth doing, but like for content like yours that's really obviously not, going to create any sort of riot or any sort of, terrible feedback, they're losing the trust of one of their content creators that has a huge following. And
Mhm.
if they continue to do that, that's going to affect them at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't get it. I'm like, I'm bringing more people to your fucking app every
Yes.
day. Why would you take my shit down? It's like, don't you want more people on your app? It's fucking, it's idiotic. It's very stupid.
It's very stupid.
Yeah.
Yes. So I guess then I have want to ask your opinion on this, because since Joe Rogan has only gone onto Spotify, I
Mm.
have argued that that has been a mistake. But in I don't know if you heard the news within the last couple of days or few days, but Neil Young gave an ultimatum to Spotify that said,
Yeah.
if you don't take down Joe Rogan, I'm going to take my content off, and then eventually took his content off. What do you think, with that in mind, of Joe Rogan's move to Spotify and exclusively releasing content on Spotify?
I think it's great because he was also being censored on YouTube and all this bullshit.
Yes.
And so I'm like, yeah, by all like because he's grown such a big platform that he actually has power to, you know, inspire or just provide information to a wide audience of people that can affect a lot of things, obviously positively or negatively. But um and so when they start to censor him, I was like, well, that's bullshit. You're just censoring freedom of speech. Like why are you censoring him and people like Jordan Peterson and all these people when there's other people who are saying complete bullshit and propaganda, but you're not censoring them? Like because they just want to um what's it called? Like they want to provide a certain type of narrative. And because Joe Rogan doesn't fit that, because he's exposing everybody and like, he has such a big audience that people are starting to wake up and call other people's shit out and call bullshit on what the government's saying and all this other shit that's happening in the world. And so I think it's great that he's getting his own platform on Spotify, which no one can restrict and censor anymore. So I'm happy that he gets to do that because he gets to still speak his mind, and it's not being taken down anymore. So that's great.
And do you think that maybe not necessarily this year, next year, but do you think one day that Neema Naz, you and your content will be on some sort of subscription-based platform
Mm.
that supports the work you do?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. We've already started a exclusive secret club that's called the Stupid Club, and that's just like that's like a first step towards getting to that point. This is more for like people like it's like an email list kind of right now, where people can be notified of future stand-up shows, live events, merch, all that stuff, band videos. That's what we're doing so far, and we've had like over a couple thousand um, signups already, which is dope, and it's free. It has cost nothing to join. Because we also don't want to take money from people just for like basic shit. I'm not here to like make money off people like that. What I do, but I'm not against making money, but I want to do it in the right way. Where I want to make sure I provide as much value for free as possible on the internet. But when it comes to live events and exclusive meet and greets, like stuff like that, um, stand-up shows especially, then yeah, I'm gonna charge people to see me because now you want access to me. Then I need to make money somehow, right? I need to
Yes.
provide for myself and my family, and my fuel my career forward. And so that's when we will charge for that. But for now, we just have the email list, the stupid club, and then eventually it's gonna get to a point where yeah, we're gonna start our own OnlyFans. Whatever platform it is, but it will be a subscription based where now I'll have complete freedom of my own and complete control of my content, and people get to enjoy it. So
Yes, and no one will be able to censor what you put out there, or
no, not at all.
they'll support what you put out there.
Yeah, and I know the people who sign up are true fans,
Yes,
and no one's gonna be there to fuck around or talk shit.
no, which will
Yeah,
be nice.
yeah, it'll be much easier. Yeah.
So, Neema, do you have any last words for our audience or anything you'd like to say?
Yeah. If I've provided any value to anyone listening today, um, obviously, I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak my mind freely on your podcast and everything like that. I'm always happy to help anyone get out of their funk mentally or physically. So, if I've provided any value today, I do have my own podcast as well that I speak freely on with my brother. It's called Straight and Curly, and it's on Spotify and on YouTube. And I just want to say that you just gotta just do what you love and fall. As cheesy as it sounds, just you gotta follow your dreams, man. You gotta fucking do what you want to do and whatever makes you happy, and just follow that because you don't want to live your life until fucking 70 or 80 and then regret your entire existence and say, what if I did this, what if I did that, because that's probably the worst feeling in the world to have regret. So just like, and the life is so short, you only have one life, and it's cliche but it's true, and before you realize it, it's gonna be over and you're gonna be like, what the fuck, why did I do this because someone told me to do it? No, you're gonna hate that, you're gonna resent it, you're gonna resent them a lot. And so, and also, for the people who do have to go to school and get degrees for their parents and all this shit. Um, if you don't like it, if you don't love it, then why are you doing it? Because in 20 years from now, 30 years, when your parents are gone and everyone's gonna die, when they're gone and they're not in this world anymore, are you still doing it for them or for yourself? That's what I had to realize for myself too. And so when you think about that, you'll come to this decision for yourself, hopefully, and you realize, oh shit, yeah, like when they're gone, then like, why am I still doing something I don't really like? So hopefully that can definitely help anyone listening. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
My guest today has been Neema Naz. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Neema.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it. And all the best to you.
All the best to you too.